Hello and welcome to Smash D20, a show where I take a look at the roster of the Super Smash Bros. Franchise and try to convert one of those characters into a playable model for your campaign. It's safe to assume that for this episode, you'll never see it coming, because I'm going to be trying to create Joker from the Persona franchise, using Pathfinder rules. Now, I know very little about the actual Persona series, so I'm working entirely off of what I have from Super Smash Bros. This is basically how every character in Smash D20 is going to work. I use mostly, if not entirely, what is presented in Smash Bros. That being said, let's take what we know about Joker for the initial build. Joker is the leader of the Phantom Thieves of Hearts. As such, he's a thief. So we know without a doubt he's going to be, at least partially, a rogue. But this is where his crazy magic powers and persona comes in. Because he's not a pure rogue. Absolutely not. As I see it, the way to build Joker is to multi-class. I think this is the first time that I'm covering multi-classing in Smash D20. And I think for this, we should do an even level split. So that when he's at level 20, it'll be 10 levels in Rogue, and 10 levels... I originally thought Summoner, with using the Eidolon to represent the Persona, but I'm taking what I can see from Smash Brothers, not the actual Persona franchise, so it's not really... So Arsene is not really a summon, but an enhancement of Joker's actual abilities. This is why I decided that Joker should be a rogue Magus multi-class. Magus being a mage fighter, basically. Stat-wise, I see him as having high intelligence and high dexterity. And surely at one point, Joker has picked up the weapon finesse feat to greater utilize his high dexterity, particularly with his melee weapon that we will cover shortly. Now, Joker doesn't appear to be wearing any armor. Just, unless the trench coat can provide some kind of protection, it doesn't look like he's actually armored in any way. Starting off Joker's offensive gear is a grappling hook. Now, a grappling hook is just a simple tool that allows for easier climbing of normally difficult to impossible to scale walls. But, like pretty much anything, it can be used as an improvised weapon. And I can even see a creative player, like Joker, to implement the qualities of a grappling hook to ensnare and draw in his target after he manages to hit. And if your DM is cool, he'll allow it. Joker's so-called knife is frigging huge. I would not call it a knife at all. I'd actually classify it as a short sword. But that's okay. We just make it a short sword. It's not inherently magical in any way, but you can always make it that way if you want to add stat boosts. The same goes for the pistol he has. This is the first time that I'm covering a gun. Now, for ease of mechanics and whatever medieval lore you have in your Pathfinder campaign, you're probably looking at closer to a flintlock pistol than a actual automatic handgun, which is what he does wield. Or alternatively, you could give him a hand crossbow instead. Joker's bizarre abilities are where we really get tricky. His Iha Curse is a combination of several low-level spells, which you could either use those low magic spells, or talk to your DM about combining the effects into a higher level spell, custom made just for Joker. Now, as for his Tetragon Reflect spell, whatever you call it, there's nothing in the Pathfinder rules that has a perfect simulation of a counter like that. But stuff like blur or adding spell resistance, it comes close. It doesn't immediately reflect things right back, but it still can give you plenty of defensive options that make it close. Like I said before, I was tempted to make Joker a summoner, but seeing as Arsene only increased abilities in Smash Bros., the effects of Arsene can basically be simulated by certain level 2 spells that are available to the mages. Bull Strength, Cat's Grace, Bear's Endurance, as well as spells like Fly that allowed for the up save that Joker does in Smash. Now, again, if your DM is cool, you could talk to him about building a specialized spell for Joker that is the complete package, that does all of those enhancements at once. It gives the effect of Bull Strength, Cat's Grace, Bear's Endurance, and Fly all in one spell. Now, granted, it would be a much higher spell, but one time-saving oomph. That would really drive home the impact of what Arsene is capable of. In Smash Bros. Anyway. For absolute accuracy, I guess the DM could shorten the duration time for this spell, so it is about as long-lasting as Arsene is in Smash Bros. Essentially only good for the battle itself, and not any longer. But that's up to DM's discretion, of course. I had fun with this episode trying to rack my brain on how to build Joker, but I think I probably missed a lot still. If you feel dissatisfied and think I could have, if I missed things and you want to point them out, go ahead and mention them in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. I do mean that. Nevertheless, I do think I did a lot of the grunt work for you to try to add Joker to your next campaign. And I hope you did enjoy my presentation. And I'll see you next time.